love you.
All right. Okay, cool. We're recording. Hello, moms.
Hey.
Hello, hello.
Cynthia with Moms Winning, and tonight we are doing Moms Winning Live. It's a live chat with wonderful moms that I know. It's essentially a quick chat about motherhood. Let me see, like everyday moms doing extraordinary things. And I'm blessed to have met and encountered a bunch of beautiful moms, especially the two on this chat right now, who are not only handling life, but being superstar moms at the same time. So I think it's inspiring to hear other people's stories of people who we can relate to and have a frank conversation about how we're managing it all. And we have quite a topic tonight. Tonight, we're talking about the current pandemic that we're still in here in the United States. It's this chat tonight is particular to the NYC area moms, and NYC is a close, near and dear city to my heart because I was there for 13 and a half years. I'm adding Tawny onto this right now. New York was a near and dear space for me because I was there for about 13 and a half years. So after just being, let me see, it's going to be about 4 years since I've moved in August. Okay, so I'm about my anniversary right now. So 4 years ago, so certainly
That's crazy.
when it hit, Tawny, look,
Hi.
Krista, me, Paola, hey, y'all know each other now.
Hi guys.
Okay, so I'm going through my spiel. So the reason why we are on this topic tonight, because obviously that was a clear reflection for me to be like, yo, I was just there. And I couldn't even imagine going through this pandemic, myself in the Bronx in that hot ass apartment with 2 kids on my own. So I was thinking about all you guys like, yo, so New York City, for everybody who's going to be watching this, I mean, you all had the longest lockdown out of all cities, 78 days. That's nuts. Okay. My first question, outside of the statement, it's so good to see everybody's face right now.
Thank you.
And we can smile because that means we're making it through. But my first question is, what was going on in your mind during this time? Yeah.
Is this real?
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of oh snap, is this really happening? You know what I'm saying? Are we really having to wear masks out here? Are we really not allowed to go outside or stay after a certain time outside? And then having children, on top of having children, just having to maybe not explain it to them to the T, but definitely having them get on the ball, right? And then learning it within the process of what we're going through. And that's been tough. But definitely, is this real? Still to today. I think the same thing.
I have to say, I panicked.
Yeah.
March 18th, I pulled my kids out. Maybe the 17th, I pulled my kids out of school. And my godmother was like, I'm going to the house in the country. Do you want to come? And I panicked. I was like, I have my kids range in age from 9 to 30. And I wanted them all with me. And I was like, we'll pool all our resources. Everyone comes out. We don't know what is going to happen, where this is going to be. And I was nervous. I just, I didn't trust the government. I didn't trust what they were telling us. Any given time throughout Harlem, there were a lot of military vehicles riding around. Nobody knew what was going on. And I just wanted to have all of my kids with me. And so I've been out in the Hamptons since March.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did something similar. So I was still traveling in and out of New York to work, and my job closed down. And then I was home working from home, but my kids were still going to school. And then I was like, you know what, that doesn't feel right. So you guys are gonna stay home. And the nurse called me like, oh, the kids are not here. And I said, you know what, nothing's wrong with them, but I don't feel comfortable And she said, you know what, my kids are home too. So I was like, you know what, then this is the right thing to do. But convincing my mother was a separate thing. I think she was kind of feeling like this is not going to last. It's going to be something that's really quick. So I was trying to tell her to come out to Jersey with me, but she was like, no, I don't need to leave, because I don't think she understood. Obviously we all didn't understand the impact that this would lead to. But I was trying to do the same thing, kind of get everybody together. And yeah, it's been this now, and it's kind of eased up a bit, but initially it was kind of like get everyone together, and hopefully that makes us feel better.
And for anybody who is going to be watching this who's never lived in New York or visited, space is an issue. Okay? So I think part of what allowed me to live there as long is like there's stuff to do outside every night of the week. Like there's stuff, life is outside. So if you live in a closet, that's all right, because you just got to sleep there, right? And maybe eat there, but most of the time you're out eating, right? So when you were just confined to your space, like Paola, for example, you're in the dead center of Harlem, baby, and I've seen your spot, right? One bedroom?
One bedroom.
Day 60, day 70, what's going on? How are you maintaining? Maybe we lost her for a second. She'll get back on. Would you say, Crystal and Tawny, the major factors that made Metro, like New York City, the biggest impacted city, is this proximity, like the closeness of how people live? Was that the biggest factor?
Yeah, I was just really nervous. There was just so much that we didn't know. And my two youngest are two boys, they're 9 and 10. And I just couldn't imagine being stuck in the city without a playground or being able to be outside. And so I'm so grateful that, I've had this space that we're in. I mean, even though it was cold, it snowed on May 10th, the day after my birthday. I remember looking out the window and there was snow on the deck. So, I'm grateful, but I couldn't imagine being in the city this long with two little boys. And with remote learning and remote working, and my godmother is here with me. She's 80 years old, and it's just a lot to manage. And it wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have been able to keep my sanity in the city.
Mm-hmm. Tawny, what were you doing? I mean, you guys have a house in Jersey. You have a backyard, right, and a front yard. So I mean, what to keep the kids entertained?
I mean, for us, initially it wasn't too bad because I was home more often. The kids were kind of happy with that. I think it's just been the amount of time that we've been home at this point. So the space really hasn't been an issue. And I know because I work, because of the type of work that I do, speaking with other people who are in apartments, knowing my own family who remains in apartments, but they don't have young kids, it's just difficult. Like if you're home by yourself and you can't comfortably go outside because people are outside not maintaining social distance, it's nerve-wracking. So for me personally, it wasn't too bad just because we don't live in the city, but seeing my family, especially at the beginning, because we actually had a couple of people impacted by COVID with health issues. We have a cousin who's in.
When is the food coming?
Sorry.
That's life.
That's what I want to know. We have a cousin who's in like a what do you call it? A nurse's home. So all of those components really took a toll, but the proximity, because people are outside, like it's too tight to be in your apartments. And I can hear people with their children, they're trying to figure out creative ways of taking them out. And it just creates a hazard because it's uncomfortable to stay covered. But I'm just grateful that, we're here, but the proximity is a big deal.
Paola, I was saying,
Yes.
I was saying, how did you maintain 70 being in the dead set of Harlem in a 1-bedroom?
Well, just to piggyback a little bit on what Crystal mentioned earlier about, feeling a bit panicked, at the beginning. I didn't panic, but I was definitely worried. I was like, you know what? Well, we're not going to go outside, much. So, just being creative at home and what we were going to do. On top of that, adjusting to the academics, right? I mean, that's also, I'm sure that was a worry on every mom. I mean, I could just imagine because I was losing it. I'm like, oh my God, is Sade even going to get this correctly? Am I even like doing a good job at this? And then I also was very concerned about, the social emotional and her also being able to, her creative side as well, right? Like I didn't want to let that die out because that could simply happen just by, go feeling how we're feeling and just pushing you towards technology. You know what? Go rock out, go chill with the iPad. You know what I'm saying? Please, right now, please, it's very, very easy to do that. So listen, Sade learned how to skate in the house. All right? She knew how to skate in the house. What was I going to do? Say no? Please. Well, listen, she was painting on canvases in the house. You hear me? I had aprons for days, all size brushes. Like, girl, let me see what you did today. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, and inculcating some sort of movement, creating some sort of fitness, something to get their body moving because we're not moving. Literally, right? We're at home. And then my little hut, little tent, blow up tent. I'm like, what are we going to do here? So just being creative about how she was going to get moving in the house. So just really using our space smart, as smart as we could and how we could. Yeah, and that's definitely been a challenge. And then just going for a walk. I was like a rebel. I was, you know what? We're going to wear these gloves. We're going to wear this mask and we're going to go around the block, girl, twice, and then take our behinds back home. I mean,
I just want to say hi. I got to catch the sister Kamala Harris.
Hi.
This is my godmother.
Okay.
And this is her, I've been staying in her wonderful home with the boys since March. And she has opened her home to some of my students. I've had some of my students here.
Myself.
Yes, Paola,
Yes.
one of our teachers. But we had a family. The mom had a baby. She was going through postpartum. She has 4 other children. And my godmother opened her home to these children for a week.
I noticed, and the little girl just laid up against me. I said, okay.
She did, but they needed that. They hadn't been out of their home since March. And, this is a blessing. My godmother has a tennis court, a pool, basketball court. She's on 2 acres. And I'm grateful. And I'm grateful that she has the space in her heart that she will share. She shared this space and to allow some of my students.
You all do so much for me. Listen, this is an experiment in living and it's working very well. Okay, and I'm on my texting all the time saying to everyone, when the nuclear family came into existence, it did away with all of this intergenerational stuff. I'm learning from them, they're learning from me. Everybody is right here. We got a little more technical savvy than I was in March when we came here. So it's all good, We have to learn ways to be creative, like you said, and to enjoy doing it, because the key to longevity is being happy.
And look at this woman, 80 years old. Look at that face. Beautiful.
I'm happy.
And happy. That's right, happy.
See you guys later.
Thank you, EO.
See you.
Yeah.
And that mom, she was just she just couldn't thank me enough. And a week isn't a long time, but it was what her children needed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I appreciate my godmother for allowing me, to
share that.
Yeah, to share the space for
sure.
families, to do that.
Yeah. What are some other ways that you saw it manifesting really bad, hard for people? And maybe it was you yourself, and what were some ways that people helped you out?
Well, you know, right off the bat, before speaking on my behalf, right, just working as a teacher in a school, you know, these parents that might not know English might be their second language. They're not nowhere near anything near in notion of what a computer does, how to deal with it, where to connect it, and just finding ourselves with helping those families to the T, you know, like really to the T. And although that is tough, you know, it was tough because we're also dealing with our own things at home and everything else, but it's also rewarding, you know, because you really helped out. You really helped somebody get out the hole, you know, and that's how I'm sure those parents felt in the hole. I can't do it, and you know that definitely feels good. Now, as for myself, um, it manifested a lot definitely at the beginning. You know, the very very beginning, like for everybody, I feel like that was like the hardest point, whether it was adjusting to what was happening immediately because everything was just like a 360, and then having to, you know, that focus, that refocus to this is what it is right now, and you got to do it right now, and just get, you know, familiarizing yourself with those the tech savvy stuff, right? Like getting into it, that making everything a routine now, because that's what it had to be in order for it to feel somewhat comforting, right? Like if not, then it'll be an issue for you the whole time. It still is, but you know, in terms of moving on, right, within the process. So
How I know, so we talked about like helping new moms, right? Or English as a second language families, right? Who have another barrier to make this smooth transition into remote living. Elderly. Did anybody have an elder that they had to like, we were concerned about, had to take care of? What was that experience like in New York City as it pertains to like supporting the seniors?
Well, I mean, my godmother, this woman is amazing. And that's a whole other Zoom thing. This woman has her pilot's license. She has a brownstone on Strivers Row. She has properties everywhere, but she's 80 and she could not stay in that brownstone by herself. She couldn't have been quarantined or sheltered in there. And so it was her idea to come out to this. Luckily, she has other properties and we're here. But I still have to, you know, keep an eye and ear out for her. You know, she's got a lot of life in her and she's wonderful and she's got a great personality, but she's still 80. And, you know, I was in the shower one day and my son comes running. She had fallen and she
Mm.
couldn't get up. So, I mean, we have to check in on our elders. I have other, you know, I have a list of people that I just, you know, I go through that every week. I know I have to call these 5 people and the next week and the next week and next week. And we have to check in on our people, especially our elders.
100%. Was the city doing a lot? Like,
Hmm. I think with the food deliveries, like, they're making sure people are getting food on a regular basis. I don't know what's happening with the summer, but I know in spring and you know they were delivering boxes and boxes. It was, you know, no questions asked. You needed it, you asked for it, and you got it.
it's still happening.
Hmm.
It's still happening. Elderly is mainly for the elderly at home. They're definitely getting food at home with, you know, every 3 days at that too. It's not like, you know, a weekly thing. It's fresh food, um, and it's quite tasty, is what I hear from many people who have eaten it.
yo, that's the one thing I love about New York is it knows how to operate. You hear me? Nothing gets in the way of getting from point A to point B, right? I miss that, but because yeah,
I
um,
feel like I've seen a lot of people just mobilize more as well. So people you may not have seen involved before, kind of just pulling resources together and you know, making things happen, whether that's personal deliveries to homes or getting their like tenants associations involved so they can get food to elderly or people who just need food because they've been laid off. I mean, 2020, COVID is one thing, but it's been tough because there's a lot of things inside of the pandemic that have happened where we have needed to kind of create a way for people to survive, whether that's eating or mentally surviving, right? You got domestic violence, you have drug abuse, you have children going through situations at home without being able to go to school that are unthinkable. So it's a lot of stuff that people are dealing with within this pandemic. It's crazy. But like you said, New York, I feel like, is one of those places where people do pull together. And that's one of the great things about the city. And, you know, you can only hope and pray that the resources are getting to the right places.
Yeah, that's right. What are some silver linings that you guys have found thus far? Because we ain't done. But
I know for me, it's definitely been time with my family, because normally I'm working constantly. I'm, you know, out the door very early, dropping them off to before care. They're in school all day. They go to aftercare. By the time I get them and feed them, it's time to go to sleep. So this has been, you know, a lot of time, a lot of great time with my kids. And like Paola was saying, she's like, her daughter learned skating. These girls are like flipping all over the place, like they're drawing. We got active in some of the protests. Like, it's been a whole like learning experience. So it's been good from that perspective.
So, two, one about mentioning about the rewarding about helping others within the pandemic, right? Finding yourself to be able and allow yourself to help others. I feel like it's rewarding. That's one. Two, definitely, it is how many people you mentioned about the city being mobile and how mobile it is. I feel like, and you see more people more mobile. I think it was you, Tawny, that mentioned it. I think that I agree with you, and I feel like it has a lot to do with a lot of people moving physically. A lot of it. Bikes were scarce for a long time. No bikes anywhere. Online, nowhere. So that just to show, right? Like, people were like, you know what? We stuck. We're gonna make this happen. We're gonna ride these bikes. We're gonna get moving. We're not gonna, like I said, Shade learn how to skate in the house. She knows how to jump rope, and she knows how to ride a bike. Wham, bam, money, gram. Just like that. And I mean, and I feel like it's a major force for moving our bodies. I feel like I've seen a lot of people do it, whether they're at home. I did a lot of that. I did a lot of working out at home. I find myself working out so much that I had to take a break. I was like, all right, girl, chill, breathe. Give yourself a little second, okay? But I did find myself finding peace in that, though, right? Like, it's a mental health in that. And another silver lining, ding, was inspiring many other people to be fitness as well. Just getting into moving their bodies, whether it was fitness, whether it was to dance, whether it was to walk, whatever it is. Just I've come across a lot of people that have told me. I've seen a lot of people join. So that's definitely been a silver lining for sure.
love it.
Yeah, Paola, you did inspire me. And so Paola and I worked together, and I would tell her often that she was an inspiration to me. Well, she's always been an inspiration, whether she knows it or not. But I've told her a few times. So, every September when we go back to work, I'm always surprised to see Paola there, because I just figure like she's just going to explode with all that she does. I mean, she's an amazing person, but that's also another Zoom call.
Agreed.
So I'm her biggest fan. But yes, I've been spending a lot of time with my kids. I've been coming out of my box a little bit. I've been doing these Facebook Lives every night at 7:00, reading stories or just different things, which has been great. But I will tell you the biggest silver lining, and I'm putting myself out there, is that my husband and I separated last summer, and we are reconciling. And so that's the silver lining for me, because I lost my uncle in April. It just really gave me a moment to step back and look at what really matters and in the big scheme of things. And And that was just something, you know, after talking and figuring it out and looking, he's my best friend. We've known each other for, you know, more than 30 years. And I'm like, you know, these are little bumps that we can figure this out. It wasn't, these are not deal breakers. And this whole pandemic just made me look at things a little bit differently. And, you know, I'm sort of grateful for it in that sense. You know, because I don't know if, you know, I would have taken that time to really look at things from every side and be like, you know what, you know, life is short, and, you know, I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy it with the people I love and care for. And so that's one of my silver linings.
I love that. Congratulations.
I love that, girl. Okay.
Look, in my Freddie voice, they were. That's somebody who we worked with, Tawny.
Mm-hmm. Oh. But yeah, definitely. I want to just jump in there and say I agree with Tawny and Crystal, and I'm sure you agree too, Sin, because I saw you just bob your head like, yes, agree. With the family time, for sure. It's definitely gotten stronger. I think that's a big word. You know, stronger in bonds, stronger in just hanging out with each other, even if it's in silence. It's just stronger, if that makes sense. And that's been great.
It's so funny. So my godmother has this beautiful home. There are like 8 bedrooms, 8 baths. She has a whole finished basement. She has a nanny's apartment, right? With another bedroom and bath. And my boys sleep in the same room with me every night since March. I could be in the bathroom and I hear, and I'm like, what? I gotta go to the bathroom. There are 7 other bathrooms in this mug. When Ivora comes, she sleeps in the same bedroom with us. So, I mean, and I get, you know, and part of me is like, but the other part is like, I am so glad that my kids love me like that and want to be up underneath me. So we have 2 queens in each bedroom, and I'm in with this little heat magnet that every time I move over, he move over. I move over, he move over, right? Well, you all know, everybody's a mom, so you know that, you've experienced it. But it's fun, it's funny, and I appreciate it, and I value it, and I think it, you know, part of me is like, but the other part of me is like, thank God, I'm glad my kids love me and want to be up underneath me. But the other part of me is like, well, Paola, you know, pick a room, please. But
real quick, go over there. Okay, we'll talk to you later, girl, okay?
But I think that also speaks to like what we truly need, right? Like you could have like a huge mansion or like a tiny apartment, and if you got your family, you set.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is true.
And it's weird because the strongs are the bonds are stronger, but it's weird because before I would always like have the need, like I need to escape, right? Like, oh, I can't wait to get a break from you all. But now it's like, I'm like, hey, what are y'all doing? Are we getting together at 9? I haven't been away from them. I'm missing them. And we've been in the same, you know, apartment for 5 months. It doesn't even make sense. But for me, certainly having the external world pressures released for a moment has been helpful, right? Like I just don't, it's not like, hurry up, get to work, hurry up, get them to school, hurry up, feed them, hurry up, get them to bed, hurry up, get them in the shower. Oh my gosh, I was just not doing well at that at all. So this is actually released just some of my pressure, which allows me to show up better as a person, as a mom, to my children. So that's just definitely been something that's come out of this experience. Self-care. I know that we haven't been able to go do the things that we normally do, whether it be a massage or get our nails done. I mean, now there's a little bit more, I get it, but I mean, it does look different, right? How are you making sure your cup is full right now with these current restrictions?
Well, I'm gonna speak like from the beginning of the pandemic to now. I think it's important to highlight that, right? Like at the beginning, it was definitely you can't do jack, and I wasn't having it, to be honest. I was like, "What? I can't do my nails? You bugging out? Okay, my nails need to be rash. What do you mean, pandemic? I'll pay for convenience, girl. Come to my house. I'm gonna spray you down." So I did, and it just showed. I really did that, and it just shows. I feel like, when I sit back and it happened, and you sit back, you're like, yeah, I'm crazy for real, just because I wanna. This makes me feel good. You know what I mean? And for a moment, I just couldn't let that rock. I had to keep it going. So I feel like that. But now with the options, that are a little bit more open now that these phases have gone by, and the numbers have been low, and they start opening all these businesses little by little. Self-care I think is definitely much more easier now, more accessible for many, I think. But yeah, definitely just, but when we had those major restrictions, just winging it at home, what you were gonna do? I did faux locks on myself. Never again. You hear me? I got a full-blown respect for hairstylists. You hear me? My eyes hurt when I was done. I couldn't roll them back up. I couldn't. So much work. But my point is, I went ham. I went hard to try to do some sort of self-care. Something I never did. I never thought of adding hair on my own and possibly being able to do it. And you know what? I had the time.
Yep.
So I did that. So again, just it falls into creativity. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You're just gonna push back your little cuticles a little bit, put a little sunshine on it. You rocking. That's it. Rising shine. What you gonna do? Go to the living room? Yeah. So pretty much.
This time is probably giving me much more time. Oh.
Facts.
Right.
Oh, my bad. I forgot that.
Has been my self-care. All right. I'm not even fronting.
That was on the side.
This much alcohol in my life, maybe since I was in college. And it counts. I don't drink alone, so if I'm on a Zoom meeting, that counts for not being alone.
That's correct.
All right?
Definitely unwinding is in the books. You hear me? Listen. Liquor store delivers. Bye.
Please.
I love it. Somebody got creative. Tawny, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I'm probably more on the like I don't get my nails done normally. So like the salons and stuff like that wasn't a big deal to me. I do have natural hair, so I did make some time to go to like a shop that was like a woman in her house doing hair, and that's how I got my hair done. But the self-care piece for me is probably more of quiet time in the morning where I really have time to relax. I tried to do some low-key working out. I don't really work out. But meditation, prayer, those types of things that I try to fit into my normal day, but it's been much easier without a commute and without everybody having to get up and do their morning routine. But I will say, Cynthia, having my kids away from me, I'm waiting for that. Like, I'm definitely like, wait, hold on. I need space. Yeah, I gotta go. It's been some time. They've been away for one weekend with my sister. I need another weekend now.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. What are your this will be my last question, but like, what do you think as we go into the future, the end of the year? Because I don't know about you, I'm like, look, it's only 4 months to 2021. That's my new goal line. Like, let's just get to the new year. Jesus. We just had a tornado in Chicago last Monday. I'm just like, if we could just get to January 1, that's my new goal line. Let's get it. What are you thinking about? Like, what are you concerned or looking forward to, if anything, like in the next months to come?
Well, I'm gonna jump right in.
Yeah.
I'm concerned. I'm back at square one in terms of concerns about academics. I'm not even gonna hold you. My daughter's about to start. She starts on Monday. Hello, right away. Like that's like yesterday. She starts on Monday. Third grade. Testing. What's that gonna look like? Right. That's when it begins. Will there be testing? Um, and I feel like there's a sense of still, there's that. It has never left. The uncertainty feel has never left, right? It's been like a wave, right? There's like full uncertainty. We don't know what the heck is going on. So, all right, maybe just a little bit back down and just, something like that. So that's how I feel about, in terms of concern. That's my main concern right now, with her and starting school. And just want her. I'm worried about her grasping what she needs to grasp. That whole. I think it's also inculcated in us about where they need to be. So there's an internal struggle, I think, too. But and I'm also with you, Sin. I'm also with you. I'm also like, because I feel that uncertainty, I feel like that I just want those 4 months to pass by. Let's see how we do here. Let's see how we're going. It's all about how we're gonna maneuver, how we're gonna navigate through this. I feel like there's that whole finding that again. It might not be as difficult. I feel like it might not be as difficult as when the pandemic started. But just it's a little bit of resurfacing though, I think.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I definitely feel much more, I'm probably more panicked now than I was in the beginning because, now there's a sense of reality that this is not ending soon. And at the end of the year, when it was March and the kids had until June to kind of get through the school year, I went on, not for the whole time, but like half the time I was on break. I was like, look, y'all go do whatever parts you could figure out because I had to work and I still have to work. So that is a huge concern for me because balancing them doing their education and me actually working, like who's supposed to teach them, and for us in Jersey, they didn't do like instructor-led lessons at all. I'm hoping that changes for this school year. So that's probably my main concern, making sure that the kids kind of stay on point. The second thing is we've literally been on lockdown. So with the exception of a few family members, they have not had play dates. They don't really see their friends. It's 3 of them, so some of that is good having the siblings, but just the interactions with kids that are their age, their peers, their friends, it's all been virtual. And trying to figure out a balance between kind of letting loose a bit on the constraints that I've put on them that's also a hard challenge. And then outside of myself, I'm thinking about the impact on people who don't have resources. I'm thinking about the impact on women in particular for the workforce, because the responsibility around raising kids, educating kids and all that usually does fall on women versus men. And, having to literally make a decision around whether you can continue to work or not, I feel like is a decision that women will have to make this year. And the last thing is I'm hoping that we get the lesson. Like, to me, I feel like God is trying to tell us something, because ain't no way 2020 got to be this daggone bad. So I'm like, we got to get the lesson. And I do think, to go back to something that you asked about the silver lining, a lot of the craziness that we've seen has resulted in some extreme change that I think will be great for everyone. But we kind of got to get through it. So, it's a combination of feeling like, what can I do in this moment when I think about like my business, how I want to impact people, and what can I do, especially during this virtual time while we're on lockdown. But then also thinking about how to lessen the impact of the hard stuff, like educating the kids and, things that we just won't have control over.
Well said, Tawny.
Yeah, I think working in a school, it's I've been struggling. I'm with trying. We've gone from parents who've been singing our praises once remote learning started, right? And they're like, teachers are amazing. This is amazing. We love you. We understand, now you're worth $1 million. And now that September is coming around and people have to go back to work, they're like, let's go back to work. We don't care, wrap yourself in saran wrap, whatever it is you need to do, but I need my kids out of the house so I can work. Or some people just like, I want my kids out of the house because I want them out of the house. And so I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with anti-racism. Um, this whole, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, this has brought a lot of things to the forefront. As a mom raising, I have 2 small boys, working in a school where I'm just last year we hired our second African American person. So like these things, so I feel like right now I have so many balls in the air. I, between work, between life, between, just everything that's just being, our presidential election that's coming up. I can't say that there's one thing. I'm just trying to keep all these balls in the air and not drop any, and figuring out how to get just to the next week, to be honest, Um, and I want to live and I want my kids to live. And, that's one of the things I tell parents. I said, you can't think that we enjoy working from home as educators. We want to see our kids. We want to touch your kids. We want them to sit in our laps. We want all of those things. But I also want to be alive for my children. I want to be able to go to their graduations, their weddings. I want to see my first grandchild born if that day, when that day comes. And I think, there's so much unknown. And I just wish I'm a parent, and I wish the parents would just, we can have all the money in the world, but if we're dead, we can't spend it. And there's no amount of money that could ever replace any of my kids or your children. So if we have to struggle through this remote learning and do the best that we can, then that's what we're going to do. Because if we come out from the other side of it and we're all alive and healthy, that's what we need and that's what we want.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just wanna highlight something that I think has helped me, and I think can definitely help a bunch of mothers out there that I know is difficult to do, which is letting it go. Right? It's so hard. It's hard. It's extremely hard. Exclamation point. And if you want to say it in Spanish, 2 exclamation point. One in the front, one in the back. It is hard. But definitely learning what to deal with, right? Just what to feed your energy to, I feel like protecting that overall, and overall your energy, your peace, protecting that is key, and it's hard, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like learning how to let go things that you can't change right now is something that we all struggle with, but I feel like now during these times is key to put that in effect, right? Because if not, you'll be adding on instead of decompressing, you'll be adding on, and it's hard not to, but just try keeping that in mind.
100%. I feel like I was just having this conversation, and then we're gonna wrap it up because I want to be sensitive to everybody's time. I was just having this conversation with my best friend as I was talking to her today, because I was just telling her how like I've established better boundaries with different people, right? Not just like romantically or family or work, like friendship, anything. And she was just like, I'm still like on the list, right? To like talk to. And I was like, you're still on the list, girl. And I was like, but you know what? Not for nothing, I feel all right. Like, I feel like this is a purification process, almost like the extra that I had allowed me to like indulge, engage, compromise, you know, I just had extra. Now I don't. And so in order for me to kind of get through this, preserve, right? It's kind of like, what do I need to cut out? If at the end of our conversation, and you probably only get one, I'm not feeling like it was like a whack conversation, it didn't like amplify the energy, the vibration didn't get higher, maybe it's not going to work out for this season. Not to say like you're dead to me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying not right now, right? Like it ain't gonna work right now.
Girl,
100.
listen, I don't even know how I forgot that one right there. I am with you. You hear me?
I just don't have it.
Yes, I agree. And I actually spoke to hubby about that today. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just praise, girl, preach.
Seriously, I feel like this has been a purification, right? It has forced us to really focus on what's important, like Crystal said in the beginning, not only from like, okay, you know, let me reassess what I got hung up on, but also just like energetically, who's called, you know what, I'm not gonna pick that one up. You know, just because I gotta preserve me, because we are in charge of working, of also the climate and culture in our house, making sure everybody gets fed. And we are the life source. We are the life source in our house to keep it moving for our young people. And so that allows us, that gives us full, what's the word I'm looking for? Authority, I guess, to like be selfish. Remember old school FCBC? I remember old school FCBC, selfish for the sake of the community. Was one of like the workshops we did at some retreat that we went to one year. And it always stuck with me, which was like, yep, you get to be selfish for the sake of the community to come, and our children are certainly a part of that, right? Like for what you need to do, your purpose, your ministry, your life, you get to be selfish for that.
Right.
Any final thoughts before we close it out?
We got this.
Oh, thank you. Hold on. My Spotify's not working. Let me play the song to you that I was telling my girls. We played it in the car. And Mercy was just repeating it, but I was just like, look, you're gonna be all right.
We're gonna be all right.
Can you hear it? Right. Look, I gotta do it like this, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't even know where the speaker is. They got their teacher assignments yesterday.
No.
And I was just like Paola said, we got to just let it go. Are we good today? All right. And then this is the mantra. We gonna be all right.
That's right.
But you know, we also have to lift up and hold each other up, and that'll help us be all right.
Right.
That's true.
And vote. That will help us be all right.
That's right. You gotta get out and vote. You gotta crawl, roll, whatever you gotta do to get there.
Right.
Essential.
And drag a friend with you.
Well, Cynthia, I want to thank you for reaching out.
Yes, Cynthia.
This
Yeah.
is so important. This is something Cynthia always does, and I appreciate
Always.
this woman. She's amazing, right?
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 Oh, I love you all. You just gave me life today. You guys are your family. You know that. You make me miss New York even more than what I was missing. But you all are like the best.
Thank you.
Awesome.
How are you?
Okay. Great conversation. Nice to meet you.
Right there.
Yeah, good to meet you guys too.
Thank you.
Recording.